this isn't snow. You lied, weather prediction. It's actually still ice. This is usually the time we can get those cool mist shots too if it wasn't raining. I was testing out this little digital hand warmer today because last year it got so cold in the winter, all electronics basically died so fast. It's actually pretty small. You save a lot of money as opposed to trying to buy like those little packages and stuff that I saw, because when you just charge it up, apparently it works as a charger too. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I just hate the fact that the electronic batteries, they die so fast and they're freezing cold. It's Cyber Monday today too, and I guess it's a computer and electronic guy's dream if you're actually shopping, because some stores I saw the deals, like what in the world? Again, they don't seem right. Maybe it's just an oversight. I guess an example would be for things like camera lens. Those things are expensive usually. But like this one here, what? A Pentax DF8 24/7mm. It says basically normally it costs about almost $1,600. But as you can see, with a sale, it's $1,299. But then the site has like a coupon for 50% off. You can get it for $649.99. Or if you're willing to go secondhand, open box, or store demos, like this one, it says Sony 50mm, like a telephoto lens. They're selling it for $199.97. But again, you use like that coupon and stuff, and it turns out to be like 99 Canadian. Again, it's really cheap if you're actually looking for stuff like this. Even for other stuff like drones, it's from the same store, London Drugs. Like here, the DJI Phantom 4 drone, this one was actually in stock, and you could buy it for $799 Canadian. That's really, really cheap. I know it's not the pro version with like the monitor and the controller and all that stuff, but still. I mean, even this one, unfortunately, this was sold out, but they had the Mavic Pro bundle, the Fly More combo and everything, and they sold it for $1,299 Canadian, but you could actually use the coupon. I couldn't actually use it to basically show you what the price would be like, but basically knocking 50% off that, you could have bought this for almost like what, $650 or something like that Canadian? I mean, think about that. Mavic Pro original drone with extra batteries like the Fly More kit and everything for about $650 to $700 Canadian. If you wanted to buy a drone like for the first time, I guess that would have been a really good deal. That's always a bummer, finding all these deals and not knowing someone who would want it, because I know someone around the world would want a deal like that if they were in the market for it. I guess with buying drones though, it's one of those things, can you actually fly it where you are, just with how crazy things like regulations and stuff are around the world? So this one was kind of interesting to read, where in Japan, apparently there's reasons why they want things like drone registrations and all that, because they say there's too many accidents. This one here says, Japan to require drone registration to find owners following accidents. Owners of drones will be required to register their remote-controlled aircraft with the government so officials can quickly identify them after accidents, according to the Land Ministry. The government has yet to decide when to introduce the system, but it will include the necessary funding in the draft budget for next year, officials said Monday. Under the envisioned registration system, drone owners will have to file online their name and address as well as details of their drones, such as the manufacturer, model, and weight, and submit personal identification documents. They will then receive a registration number that should be attached to the drone. The aviation law that revised in 2015 bans drone flights in densely populated areas around airports and 150 meters or more above the ground without government approval. Interesting reference here too about the weight, because last time even with the Mavic Mini, the company made one specifically for Japan. It says small drones weighing less than 200 grams, often sold as children's toys and for hobbies, are not subject to the law. Drones have been gaining popularity in recent years as tools for taking images and measurements and spraying agricultural chemicals on farmlands, among other tasks. But the widespread use has also led to more accidents, with the ministry receiving more reports of 79 drone incidents in the fiscal 2018. Earlier this year, a drone-like object was spotted at Kansai International Airport at least 3 times, prompting the closure of a runway and affecting more than 100 flights in total. The ministry will also seek money in the 2020 budget for a system that can detect unauthorized drone flying around the airports more quickly, the official said. I do wonder about those incidents, if those were the situations where many times they say, like pilots, they saw a drone where it ended up being nothing. I wonder if that counts as an incident, or those actual crashes, for example, like people flying in the airports and it's verified. It seems like most places are so quick to say registration is the key for safety and so forth, although honestly I don't see how that necessarily prevents bad things from happening. Like if someone wants to purposely fly it, let's just say in an airport, they're probably going to do it anyways. Here in Canada anyways, I personally don't see how it made everything quote safer. If anything, like those people that fly like multiple model aircrafts and stuff, having to pay money to register each plane, man, that really adds up. One thing I was thinking about too, just in terms of things like registration and like here in Canada where I had to go through the advanced, which allows me to fly like in those controlled spaces and stuff like that, if I get permission from the NAV Canada, it just seems so kind of redundant in some ways, like with this current SFOC thing that I'm trying to do, where like I said, all I want to do is fly up and down in a class G space higher than the 122 meters. But it makes me think, if you make me go through all this testing and so forth to get that license in the first place, shouldn't that be your way of saying, okay, I trust that you are a responsible flyer, so to speak? Yet, like with all this, it's kind of like, no, we still need to make sure that you're gonna fly this like safely and all that. Seems a bit redundant, isn't it? I think one point I usually hear and why someone would say, nope, it makes sense the way it is because that's just how it's always been, like in terms of, I guess, things like airspace with aircrafts. But in my opinion, if you're getting into the territory of consumers and the quote actual majority of the world, so to speak, then you have to kind of adapt to that as well. Otherwise, it's like the analogy I used before. I mean, people say, oh, it's dangerous to put this up in the air and so forth. I mean, same thing with like a road, for example. Think of how many different types of things share the road that doesn't need like a quote car license. For example, someone riding a bicycle, completely different regulations and stuff like that. Someone like me as a pedestrian walking on the sidewalk, like just crossing the road afterwards. I mean, completely different rules and responsibility. That's all you really need. So it makes more sense, like what some people said, like for basic regulations, if it's like in a controlled zone or something like that, don't fly higher than the tallest object. I mean, it should be something that simple, but someone's flying it for fun, honestly. Alright, pouring rain and no flying today. Huh, I guess it's time for the archive. Alright, see you guys later.